Have you ever been online searching for a hotel or a place to stay, or checking online for a certain type of dress? Then you switch over to another website and suddenly there are adverts about that particular dress or that hotel, or areas in that region, advertising flights, that sort of thing. How do companies actually know who you are and what you've been seeing online? Let's talk about cookies. Hey, what up? It's your boy MobbJustice back again with another video. Now for today we're going to be talking about something that I think we all encounter. We all get these notifications about cookies when we're browsing the internet, and today we're just going to talk about what those are and how they are the reason why certain websites are able to follow you around the internet. Now, to begin with, when we talk about cookies, we're not talking about, the confectionery good. We're talking about the small files that are actually kept on your computer due to browsing that actually help to identify who you are online. So cookies are very useful because if you think about logging into a website, for example, usually when you ping a server or you try and log in, most of the time it doesn't actually know who you are, where you're coming from, etc. So every time you ping that server, it's like a new session. But cookies actually help servers and computers and things like that to actually remember who you are. This is why in some cases you're able to just click one button and you're already logged back on. This is what cookies are actually used for. They actually help to identify who you are. If you think about other websites that you actually browse on, whether it's online shopping, social networks, or other types of websites, cookies are the reason why those websites are actually able to remember your settings on those websites. If you use, let's say, a background, or you've customized your layout on a particular website, that sort of thing, that's what cookies are actually being used for. Another good example is online shopping. So if you're on Amazon, eBay, Takealot, whatever service you're on, and you have goods in your cart, right? Your cart knows who you are and what goods you have in your cart because of cookies. So from that point of view, cookies actually help to identify who you are and to sort of track your activity on a particular site. Now, as useful as cookies are, they do pose a bit of a danger, at least from a privacy point of view, because in some cases cookies are the reason why you are tracked across the internet. So for example, if you have found yourself browsing the internet looking for a place to stay, for example, or booking airline tickets, or having looked at a certain site, then you jump over to another site and you now start seeing advertisements for certain products, places to stay, that sort of thing, is because of those cookies. And the big one is just the fact that a lot of that information from cookies in some cases is actually being sold off to third parties like advertisers that are then using that to try and sell you products and services. Usually cookies on a particular website shouldn't be able to be read by other websites, but when you think about certain platforms like Google and Facebook, etc., there's a cross-pollination of sites, because you might not necessarily be on Twitter, but if you're on a news website and that news website has a tweet to share button on it, it means that that other website has got Twitter code embedded on it. So this is part of the reason why the cookies from Twitter will then be able to track you where you are on another website. Now, one of the things that's actually happening when you think about advertising and being tracked across the internet is the fact that they are now what are considered as third-party cookies. So basically, you might not necessarily be, let's say, on a particular website. Let's say you're shopping for something on eBay, on Amazon, wherever it is, right? those websites have third parties that actually have cookies on those websites that you as a user or a browsing person are actually exposed to. That's the first source. The second source of some of the third-party apps is that when you look at banners, like banner ads, those ones that blink on the sides, the top, etc. of websites, some of those actually contain cookies in them that then track you across the internet and see your activity. So as useful as cookies are, because we've already spoken about how they actually help to make your life online easier instead of you having to log in all the time, set your preferences, etc. You do need to be mindful of what's actually going on out there, and there are a couple of tips that I would like to offer in terms of actually helping you to actually make sure that you don't get tracked online. The first thing you can do for yourself is to make sure that you understand what the cookies on a particular site are doing. We've all seen those banners at the bottom of a website that talk about the cookie policy and all of that stuff, and that's as a result of legislation around the world, like GDPR in Europe and stuff like that, that actually is forcing companies and websites to let users actually opt in or out to the data that's being collected on them. So actually go through that and you can actually manage what type of data is actually being tracked. The second thing you can do for yourself is to actually manually delete the cookies. Go into your browsing history, go into the settings of your browser and actually just check if you can actually delete the cookies that are actually left on your machine. The third one is to use in private browsing or incognito browsing, because we know that Chrome, for example, calls it incognito. Other websites call it, other browsers call it private browsing. And basically how that works is that it's private because most of the time, as soon as you're done with the session, it deletes the cookies that would actually have identified you. That's why it's called private browsing. But even then, you should always be mindful that there are third-party actors that are trying to find ways to actually build profiles on who you are, even without those cookies being in place. The other one you can consider is to have use browsers that actually have security features already built in. You can think about browsers like Safari, because Apple has actually been very serious about its stance on online privacy, user data, that sort of thing, together with browsers like Brave. I know that one is quite popular with people that want to keep themselves private online. And then another thing to consider is some plugins. So personally, I use something called the Ghostery, and with Ghostery, what it does is that it blocks trackers and cookies and other third parties that are following you. I'll actually include a screenshot right here of how it actually works, because it's actually quite scary that if you go to certain websites, it will actually show you how many people are actually following you on a particular website, and you can actually click that and it will show you all the people that are following you online, companies, that sort of thing. And what it does is that as you're browsing, it actually blocks those things, and it lets you know that it's blocked people and how many people it's actually blocked. The last thing you can do for yourself, quite honestly, is to just inform yourself, because most of the time in this world, one of the things that's tended to happen is that a lot of online services are free, but the exchange there is that as users, as people, as consumers, the exchange has been the data. Your personal data is actually now a commodity. This is what you give up to actually browse the internet for free in a lot of cases, but you can actually control it by informing yourself of what's actually going on with your browsing, and actually installing some of these third-party applications and extensions like Ghostery, just going and checking your cookie, the policies, checking what data is being collected on you, deleting using certain browsers and the like. So just making yourself aware of what's actually going on and what type of companies are trying to track your data is actually going to help you in the long run. So that's been it for this quick video just around cookies and how they work. If you've ever wondered how companies are able to track your activity, why certain advertisements start popping up on your feed or on certain websites after you've visited a particular website, this is how it is being done. It's always good to just inform yourself of what's going on, because your data is becoming more and more of a commodity. In fact, some of the companies out there that are called data brokers are actually doing what's called almost real-time bidding. They will build quite a robust profile about the type of websites you visit, your habits online, that sort of thing, that when you get to a certain site, they have algorithms in place that are bidding almost in real time to show you particular adverts. Otherwise, if it wasn't that way, you'd literally get adverts from everybody. So there's actually a bidding process that's going on in the background. So let me know what you think. Is this something that you care about? Do you think that to continue browsing the internet for free, that there's a certain measure of privacy that needs to be given up? Do you even care that you're being tracked out there, or do you just think that at the end of the day it's just marketing? Because the other danger is just the fact that some nefarious characters online can actually take it a step further, because apart from just taking and tracking your activity online, some hackers might be able to actually start seeing your keystrokes, and in some cases building profiles around your banking activity, maybe even possibly stealing your username and passwords, that sort of thing. So it's always just good to be careful and know what's going on online. Otherwise, that's it. Like I said, tell me what you think. Is this something that you care about? Did you know about these issues? Did you know what cookies do? And if so, how do you think it might be a better way? Cookies are about I'm gonna call it 26-year-old, invented by Netscape back in 1994. Do you think that they are useful too? Have they been really useful, or do you think that this is an invasion of privacy? Let us engage. Let me know what you think. Otherwise, I will catch you guys in the next video.
Hey, this is Baby G and you're watching the Mob Justice channel. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. Live it, love it, like it. This is the MobbJustice TV.